Hello and welcome back to another video. So last week we did the 90s F1 car that was added in Gran Turismo 7, and now we're going to do a car that I've driven in real world. So that is a Hyundai Ioniq 5N. So I drove this round Brands Hatch and thoroughly enjoyed it. I think the biggest praise I could give the car was I came off the track and forgot it was an electric car. Completely got suckered into, I thought I was driving a petrol car with an automatic gearbox. So this thing should be fairly fast. We're looking at 641 horsepower, which is stonkingly powerful, and it did fill it, but it is also 2,200 kilos, so it is a pretty hefty chunk too. So it's going to be interesting. I generally struggle with electric cars around places like in Sim because there is no gears. I've not driven this yet, so we'll go and find out and see how fast it goes. Let's go for it. Right, a Hyundai Ioniq 5N versus the Nürburgring. Let's see how this big chungus gets on. Right, at the final corner, I'm on the boost button. There is a boost button. It doesn't seem to be replicated in the hood though. Right, flat out into the first corner. Hard on the brakes, get that nose in, and then search on hard on the power. Use the boost as we fly down the hill. Right, this thing is pretty fast, 641 horsepower. Oh, slide it through there, but is pretty heavy, 2.2 tons. So for what it makes up in pace in straight line, you do have to be careful on the brakes. Weight transfer, it's quite snappy, but this thing is quite oversteery. You can see it already, which does make it quite fun to drive, but also means you sometimes have to give it quite a bit of respect, especially in some of the harder downhill braking areas. Right, flat out, I'm on the boost button. That little power bar should fill, but it doesn't seem to in Gran Turismo. Flat out towards the flung plats and get on the brakes, hold it, try and squeeze on the power, and now we're back on there. So the infotainment system does show my brake and throttle inputs, which is kind of handy if you see it down there, but doesn't show that I'm on the boost. We should hit Vmax as we head towards shooting points. Yeah, almost 260 kph on the brakes. Try and tip the car in, back on the power if we can, and then hard on the brakes. This is where it just feels like you're on the brakes forever. Like, come back to me. Right, on the power now, and as we go through the foxholes, yeah, 641 horsepower feels like McLaren, Ferrari kind of power. There's a lot of power, but it just doesn't feel like that. It probably feels about 400, 450 the way. Got to come off the throttle as we go through the compression on the brakes, as we come up over the foxhole curve, and then getting back on the brakes. It's definitely a car that you spend quite a lot more time in the braking zone. It's a kind of car that you can't, for me, I feel like you can't carry too much pace through a corner. You need to definitely brake early and hard and then drive back out through a corner. That's a rebel tree, and then we're back on the brakes again. Try and keep it in that camber. You can kind of trail brake, but the car definitely feels overloaded at times, especially downhill. Those front tyres, they're doing braking, they're doing steering, and they've got all that weight on them. Understeer there, you can kind of hear it chattering through the steering wheel. Yeah, we're back. Wow, that was a bit dicey there. Definitely it is set up to be a bit more of the, on the fun side compared to, say, the Tesla and the Taycan. As you can see there, it will slide quite easily. Right, down the hill towards the camping zone and the slowest corner on the track. Come on, I was on the brakes so early, but with throttle wise, we can just stamp on the power and get through it. Right, the gears not modelled here in Gran Turismo. Maybe that's something the Set of Corsa Evo will do. I know this car should be coming out soon in that sim, and I'm hoping maybe that might have a better modelling for all the toys and the kind of drive modes that you can do in this car. Right, flat out again on the boost juice, heading towards the Lauda kink, which is going to be flat out through there, and then we're going to have to get straight on the brakes. This chungus slow down, keep it with a camber, and then search for the grip on the exit. There we go. Back on the boost juice, up the hill we go. So yeah, this is a fun car to drive for an electric car. I think out of any electric car on the market, this is the one I would personally buy. Not being biased, but it just does seem like a great good fun. The reviews have been really positive of it. I think if there was a crash damage one that I could rebuild and afford, I'd definitely do that. Flat out towards Bravery Corner, could be hard on the brakes, get that nose in, back on the power. I'd love the daily and electric car to see how it compares to daily in the GR Yaris. Up over the rise there, and then hard on the brakes. Got to be on those brakes early, wait for it to turn in. There's a bit of understeer there. We're on sports hard tyres, so it's not super sticky tyres. And then towards the carousel we go, early on the brakes. With no gears, it's always a struggle to try and get an idea of what kind of speed you're trying to slow down to, but we'll make it. Right, flat out into towards the roller coaster section. Now let's see how the car does through here. We should be able to abuse the curbs quite well because we're a high road car, but that weight might be a little tricky to control through here. Yeah, that's weight's playing its part there. You can see the understeer there. Had to get off the brakes because the front tyres are just done at that point. Too much understeer. Into Vipperman, that brakes. Oh, that rear's coming round there. It does have like some lift off oversteer, a bit like a Renault Sport hot hatch, where you can really liven up the rear end by just lifting off, especially when you come over some weight transfer. Down the hill towards Brunchen, guys and girls watching as we fly through here. Understeer again, but we're back on the power. Can't definitely slide this thing about. Right, final part of Brunchen, YouTube corner, back on the power, back on the boost. And then we're going to be on the brakes early, get that nose in. There you go, point for the sky. There we go. Kind of just keep all four wheels pointing in the right direction. Up over the rise, we're going to lift off and then flat out towards the bump. On the brakes, come off. All understeer, can't really get on the power. Up over the rise, got to be careful of the weight transfer as we go through there. And then again, lift. Whoa, it nearly tried to kill us there. Right, through step on Belloff S, and then we're back on the power. All worst corner on the track coming up. Gonna have to be on the brakes early for this. Just don't trust the car in the high speed kind of corners like that. Whoa. And then turn her in towards the baby carousel, back on the boost. Come on, boost. Yeah, I don't know. I'm expecting electric boost kind of explode, but it doesn't seem to. I suppose we're all in one gear. Like a lot of people talk about the instant torque of an electric car. It doesn't quite feel like that. Right, as we go on to Dottinger Hill, we made a small mistake on the exit of the baby carousel, but we'll keep it going. Dottinger Hill, we're on the boost. I don't think boost gives us any actual top speed advantage. It should be about 260 kph. So, like, yeah, I'm 258. I'm off the boost. On the boost, doesn't seem to make much difference there. So, going past the Devil's Diner. Lap time, unfortunately, on the infotainment doesn't work, so I've got no idea of lap time. Flat out underneath the Bilstein Bridge. And now we're going to have to be careful through here. Don't want to take this wallowing beast through here too fast, and then hard on the brakes. Yeah, just get that car slowed down, a little bit of understeer, could maybe do with a bit more brakes. Right, final corner, try and get that nose in. Yeah, and then boost across the start finish line. Come on. And there we go, and that's a lap time done. Oh, okay, the infotainment's decided to now work, and it says a 7:38. I'm not sure if that's correct. So let's go and find out how fast it has done. It was correct, so 7 minutes 38.3. So let's see where that sits compared to some of the other cars that we've done here on Nurburgring Blast. So 7:38 takes us 74th fastest and right in around the WRC cars. So for a road car, that's pretty impressive. Now, of course, those WRC cars are very limited top speed, but then to a factor, this is 260 kph is pretty fast for an electric small car, but not as impressive as some of the other cars. And it was a little bit faster than my Mitsubishi Evo around the Nürburgring. So I think that's done better than I thought. When I was driving around, I felt like the car felt quite heavy. I think if you lost a lot of weight, that would make a big difference to the driving of it. But I actually enjoyed this a lot more than things like the Tesla and the Taycan. I really didn't enjoy, especially the Tesla was quite wallowy. Although this was big and heavy, it felt like the body control was quite good, whereas the Tesla, it was whipping from side to side. So other than that, I enjoyed it, and I hope you did too. And if you did, the like button's just down below. Just give it a smash, that really helps. But if you didn't, put a comment down below how I can do it better. If you just put go faster, I will try. Until then, until next time, goodbye and have a good one.